Hey all, welcome back. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas and wonderful holiday season, spending time with family, friends, and those around. Today, I am going to go through my book haul that I had gotten over the course of this holiday season to finish off the year of 2023, and I am so excited. So, let's get started. So the first round of books that I got was for my birthday earlier in December, and I got my Harry Potter collection replaced, and I'll take a second and post a few pictures because I love my new set. The pictures are gorgeous. Each of the covers, the box set, the picture along the spine, it's absolutely gorgeous. I replaced it in my bookshelf, so I don't physically have it on me right now, but I also wanted to pick because the covers of each of the books as well are stunning, and they even come with the back has quotes from each of the books on it. Here is the cover of Philosopher's Stone, The Chamber of Secrets, The Prisoner of Azkaban, The Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, which of the entire 7 is probably my favorite. Well, it's my favorite book of the series. I love all the covers. Here is Half-Blood Prince and The Deathly Hallows. I find all of these covers absolutely stunning, and I'm so excited to see them displayed on my bookshelf. And then for the holidays from my friend, she got me a collection of classics because she keeps telling me, you haven't read these, you need to read these. So she got for me George Orwell's 1984. And even though like some of these books are very will be common reads, I'm still gonna read the back synopses of the books because, in all honesty, I also have to remind myself what they're about. I do apologize if some noises doing this outside. So the first one is 1984 by George Orwell, and the back of it explains Winston Smith toes the party line, rewriting history to satisfy the demands of the Ministry of Truth. With each lie he writes, Winston grows to hate the party that seeks power for its own sake and persecutes those who dare to commit thought crimes. But as he starts to think for himself, Winston can't escape the fact that Big Brother is always watching. And so it's become a nice little classic. So I'm excited to see what's all entailed here. The next one is Ayn Rand. Is it Ayn Rand? For some reason I always heard Ayn Rand, but I think it's Ayn Rand. Anthem. Now it's actually a novella, so it's actually the cool thing about my copy that my friend gave me. Let's see if I can find it. Is of the entire thing, only this is the actual novella. Because it's a short little thing. It's only like 105 pages is the novella, but the rest of it is the journal version. So if I flip through these, there are notes, and I believe it's the entire novella with Anne's notes throughout. So I find that really, really cool. So I'm also excited to check that out, especially having like the background of her notes. It says, he lived in the dark ages of the future. In a loveless world, he dared to love the woman of his choice. In an age that had lost all trace of science and civilization, he had the courage to seek and find knowledge. But these were not the crimes for which he would be hunted. He was marked for death because he had committed the unpardonable sin. He had stood forth from the mindless human herd. He was a man alone. Ayn Rand's classic tale of the future dark age of the great we, a world that deprives individuals of name, independence, and values, anticipates her later masterpieces, The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged. So this interesting about like one man becoming individual, which is really cool. I'm curious. I'm really curious. So the next one that she got me is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I felt like I pronounced it the first time I read it. Aldous Huxley, something like that. Do apologize for my ability to pronounce names so bad. So this is Aldous Huxley. Tour de Force, Brave New World is a darkly satiric version of a utopian future where humans are genetically bred and pharmaceutically anesthetized to passively serve a ruling order. A powerful work of speculative fiction that has enthralled and terrified readers for generations. It remains remarkably relevant to this day as both a warning to be heeded as we head into tomorrow and as thought-provoking, satisfying entertainment. Wow. Like some of these like classics are like, they go hard. I feel like it's gonna go very hard and very deep. So I also like when they do like these utopians, the different it's fiction, but it's not fantasy. It's kind of like the dystopian. I feel like these kind of have like a dystopianness to it that I love. I love the idea of dystopian. So I'm really curious. Like one of these months, I have to do the classics. And the last one that I was given was Agatha Christie, and Then There Were None. Of course, this is a big old classic. So I'm very curious. Let's see. Ooh, interesting. 10 strangers are lured to an isolated island mansion off the Devon coast by a mysterious UN Owen. 9. At dinner, a recorded message accuses each of them in turn of having a guilty secret, and by the end of the night, one of the guests is dead. 8. Stranded by a violent storm and haunted by a nursery rhyme counting down one by one, as one by one they begin to die. 7. Which among them is the killer, and will any of them survive? Dude, that sounds amazing. Wow. Okay, I'm very excited. So all those came from my friend. It's like, you have to read the classics. So I'm going to. So up next, I've received 2 memoirs, one of which I had actually requested and the other one because I forgot it existed, and I'm very glad that it was gotten for me because, I mean, of course I would love to read it. So, of course, I talked about earlier, big Harry Potter fan. And so Tom Felton had written a memoir. It's called The Magic and Mayhem of Growing Up a Wizard. And so I was always curious to see some stuff about like his life as he grew with the movies. So I'm not really gonna go into the synopses of the memoirs, only because I mean they're memoirs, they're about their lives. So I'm very excited to read this one, as well as Madly Deeply by Alan Rickman. I loved Alan Rickman as an actor, watching the Harry Potter series, and I've even seen some of the some other movies that he was in, and to hear, and it's even called The Diaries of Alan Rickman. I haven't even properly looked through this. Oh, interesting. Alright, so of course I gotta show this now. And of course I'm trying not to damage the spine. Nice orange color. It's got like a little chaos last day. This is Saturday, June 8th and Sunday, June 9th. Let's see. And it is actually a diary. There are dates in here. And it goes through the years, because now here's 1994. Oh, 1996. Oh my goodness. How far does this go? Ooh, the back. 2 days in August. It's beautiful. And so, ooh. What is appendix? The early diaries. Wow. We've got December 12th, 2015. I'll put it up on the screen, but I don't remember which year he passed, so I'm very curious because of the timeline from 1994 to 2015. And of course, because I don't remember off the top of my head, I will put his years. Oh, appendix. Alan Rickman kept occasional diaries from around 1974 to 1982, and then again more fulsomely and regularly from 1993 to the end of his life. What follows is a selection of extracts from the earlier diaries. So after, because it starts back in the 1994? 1993. It starts in 1993, and so there are a few excerpts from the earlier diaries prior to 93. So that's very cool. Oh, okay, because it does include some of his movies in the back. Die Hard, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Harry Potter, and Sense and Sensibility were some of his best known works. Oh, I found the dates. February 21st, 1946 to January 14th, 2016. So the diaries go right up to, what is it, a month before his death. Wow. And actually I realized is that the pictures here on the front and the back are probably in his handwriting, and wow. And then of course was translated into the book. But like, look at this. Look at his writing. Neat. So yeah, I got those. Like, I'm kind of freaking out over these right now internally, because like, that is amazing. Did I miss something in? No, Tom doesn't have anything like that in his. But like, all right. So then up next. So those were my memoirs. I'm so excited. Thank you for going through those with me, because that was the first time I had actually looked inside Alan Rickman's book. So next we have Fairy Tale by Stephen King. I honestly have not been much of a listen to me. My mind's still on Harry Potter. Sorry guys. Not much of a Stephen King person, but there was something about the synopsis of Fairy Tale that caught my attention. And so inside it says the synopsis for Fairy Tale is Charlie Reed looks like a regular high school kid, great at basketball and football, a decent student, but he carries a heavy load. His mom was killed in a hit-and-run accident, and when he was 7, and grief drove his dad to drink. Charlie learned how to take care of himself and his dad. When Charlie was 17, he meets a dog named Radar and her aging master, Howard Bowditch, a recluse in a big house on top of a big hill with a locked shed in the backyard. Sometimes strange sounds emerge from it. Charlie starts doing odd jobs for Mr. Bowditch and loses his heart to Radar. Then, when Bowditch dies, he leaves Charlie a cassette tape telling a story no one would believe. What Bowditch knows and has kept secret all his long life is that inside the shed is a portal to another world. So then it kind of goes in a little more King storytelling in fairy tale soars. This is a magnificent and terrifying tale in which good is pitted against overwhelming evil, and a heroic boy and his dog must lead the battle. Early in the pandemic, King asked himself, what could you write that would make you happy? As if my imagination has been waiting for the question to be asked, I saw a vast deserted city, deserted but alive. I saw the empty streets, the haunted buildings, a gargoyle head lying overturned on the street. I saw smashed statues, of which I didn't know, but I eventually found out. I saw a huge sprawling palace with glass towers so high their tips pierced the clouds. Those images released the story I wanted to tell. So I'm very curious to read this and see how Stephen King's writing intertwines with like actual like fairy tale. It just interested me so much. So I got that and I'm very excited. Up next, we have V.E. Schwab's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I will display the original so that way both you and I can find the difference, because it's got a little flap in here, and it says "Free world large enough to tilt the world, I remember you," and it's got like pages to where it's like it's different. You can see the separation of pages. It's like snagged. It's got texture to it. Hopefully that does it justice. And ooh, I didn't even see the one on the back. Books she has found are a way to live 1,000 lives, or to find the strength in a very long one. That's cute. But because of the way that the book is set up, let's see. There is no like what it's like, but from what I can remember of the synopsis is that Addie LaRue like lives like many lives, and like nobody knows who she is, or nobody is aware of Addie, and nobody knows who she is. And just looking through here, we have so many different time stretching from like the 1700s into the 2010s, and I guess in one of the timelines somebody recognizes her, somebody knows who she is, and it's then what does she do about it? And so it's like, I'm so curious. And actually, I wanted to see some of these pages like from like individual page standpoints to get the texture, and it's really cool. It's like snagged in the pages to give it the texture. I find that neat. So that's Addie LaRue. I then got Yellowface. Now, most of the time I am a fan of, I'm a big fantasy person, but I also like finding the books that interest me that are not quite fantasy and expand the types of books that I read. Because like most of my fantasy are fantasy, and then I do have some select romances, and then I do have another contemporary romance that I got. My September book of the month was Evil Eye. I have yet to read it. I have 3 book of the month books. I've only read 1. So, but I will eventually get to them because they do look really good. And then I have like a few random, just pure romances. So Yellowface was one that looked interesting and was also out of my normal reading territory. So I'm very curious. So its synopsis: white lies, dark humor, deadly consequences. Best-selling sensation Juniper Song is not who she says she is. She didn't write the book she claims she wrote, and she is most certainly not Asian American. And this chilling and hilarious cutting novel from the #1 New York Times best-selling author R.F. Kuang. So authors June Hayward and Athena Liu were supposed to be twin rising stars. But Athena's a literary darling, June Hayward is literally nobody. Who wants stories about basic white girls, June thinks. So when June witnesses Athena's death in a freak accident, she acts on impulse. She steals Athena's just finished masterpiece, an experimental novel about the unsung contributions of Chinese laborers during World War I. So what if June edits Athena's novel and sends it to her agent as her own work? So what if she lets her new publisher rebrand her as Juniper Song, complete with an ambiguously ethnic author photo. Complete with an ambiguously ethnic, third time's a charm, guys. Hold on. So, so what if June edits Athena's novel and sends it to her agent as her own work? So what if she lets her new publisher rebrand her as Juniper Song, complete with an ambiguously ethnic author photo? There it is. Doesn't this piece of history deserve to be told, whoever the teller? That's what June claims, and the New York Times bestseller list seems to agree. But June can't get away from Athena's shadow, and emerging evidence threatens to bring June's stolen success down around her. As June races to protect her secret, she discovers exactly how far she will go to keep whatever she thinks she deserves. With its totally immersive first-person voice, Yellowface grapples the questions of diversity, racism, and cultural appropriation, as well as the terrifying alienation of social media. R.F. Kuang's novel is timely, razor-sharp, and eminently readable. So I found this, again, all of these books that I find completely interesting. And so I am curious to read that one. I know there's a version like with a typewriter, I think. Or that could be my imagination and I'm getting confused. But look at this white. It's very, very slick. Wow. And then I also received Powerless by Lauren Roberts. And I get this fantasy, guys, okay? Hunted hunter destined for each other. So on the back, it has Peyton, thief, ordinary survivor. I've never been looked at like it's a privilege to be in my presence, an honor to hold my gaze, a gift to get a glimpse of me, not until I met him. And then Kai, prince, elite, enforcer. If I am to be her enemy, I want it to be because she loathes herself for wanting me. She is the very thing he has spent his whole life hunting. He is the very thing she has spent her whole life pretending to be, as fate ensured they would find each other. And on the inside, this little synopsis says, only the extraordinary belongs to the kingdom of Ilya? I'm gonna go with Ilya because it's easier to pronounce. Correct me if I'm wrong. The exceptional, the elites. The elites have possessed powers for decades, gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banished from the kingdom of Ilya and shunned from society. No one knows this better than Peyton Gray, an ordinary posing as a psychic to blend in with the elites. But when she unwittingly saves one of Ilya's princes, Kai Azar, she's thrown into the purging trials, a brutal competition showcasing the elite's powers. If the trials and the opponents within them don't kill her, the prince she's fighting feelings for will if he discovers what Peyton is, completely ordinary. And I know that this, I don't know if you can tell, but like this sword has a bit of a glint to it. It's separating itself from the rest of the cover. I love that. And of course, I love a good fantasy romance. Like, I'm in the middle of reading Iron Flame right now, and I love Violet and Xaden. So I love a good fantasy romance, okay guys? And then actually today, with some of the holiday money that I got, I went out and purchased One Dark Window by Rachel Gilling. The Barnes & Noble that I went to did not have Two Twisted Crowns in stock, and so actually after I left Barnes & Noble, I then ordered Two Twisted Crowns off of Amazon. So that should be here next week. Since I am in no rush to read the second one, I have a whole backlog. And so they look so good, guys. And I've heard nothing but good things about the duology. So the prompt on the synopsis on the back of One Dark Window says, Elspeth needs a monster, the monster might be her. Elspeth Spindle needs more than luck to stay safe in the eerie, mist-locked kingdom of Blunder. She needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient, mercurial spirit trapped in her head. He protects her. He keeps her secrets, but nothing comes for free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, her life takes a drastic turn. Thrust into a world of shadow and deception, she joins a dangerous quest to cure Blunder of the dark magic infecting it. Except the highwayman just so happens to be the king's own nephew, captain of the most dangerous men in Blunder, and guilty of high treason. A maiden must unleash the monster within to save her kingdom in the dark, lush, gothic fantasy debut. So like that, it's very interesting. It's very captivating. And so I have the sequel coming in the mail, and this was just one that I had to get physically because I just like, look at that, it's like gorgeous. Okay. And then before the holidays, I've got some Amazon gift cards that had gotten over the course of my birthday and the holidays, and so I also bought on my Kindle, I bought Assassin's Blade and Throne of Glass. So I currently have those 2 books on my Kindle, and I just wanted to buy those 2 just to at least get me started on the Throne of Glass series. And yes, I am going to read Assassin's Blade first, but I didn't want to buy the others until I knew I wanted to continue. Like a lot of the books that I read, I get the whole series when I get the book. Like I own the whole Crescent City series. I even have because I've already read, and it's so funny, I'm kind of doing Sarah J Maas in a backwards order, because also my plan is I'm not planning on doing an official January TBR video, only because I kind of want to do an entire Sarah J Maas month where I read nothing but her work, because I also have 3 of her series owned and I have all of her work on my Kindle. And so I read House of Earth and Blood earlier this year, loved it, and so I want to read House of Sky and Breath before the new one releases. I already have I believe it's House of Flame and Shadow, I believe is the 3rd one. I have it on pre-order when it comes out January 24th, so when January 24th hits, that book will automatically go into my Kindle. But I do want to finish it before it releases. I also have all 5 books of A Court of Thorns and Roses owned, and then I have Assassin's Blade and Throne of Glass to get me started on the Throne of Glass series. Now, I feel like I'm gonna end up reading her work backwards, because I've heard that you're supposed to read Throne of Glass, then Court of Thorns and A Court of Thorns and Roses, and then the Crescent City series. I'm gonna kind of be doing it backwards, and I don't know, you can tell me in the comments if there's a specific reason for it to read them in that order, if it's specifically because of how they've been released, that Throne of Glass came out first, then Court of Thorns and Roses, and then Crescent City series, or if there's actually a specific way that they're supposed to be read. But for now, I plan on reading them backwards because that's how I own them. So that has been my book haul for the holidays, and it has been so much fun getting these, and I'm literally, I don't know if this is on purpose or not. Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. Powerless has these cool flowery pieces on the tops and the bottoms of the chapter, so that way on close, like where all the chapters start, you can see the indent from the all the flowers, and then it does it on the bottom too at all of the chapters. Sorry, side note, where let's see if I can, I think it's got flowers at the top and the bottom, so like when the book is closed you can see the black from the flowers, so that's really cool. Alright, so thank you so much for joining me on this book haul. I am so excited to get into these, as well as the books I have on my Kindle. In all honesty, I actually paused my Kindle Unlimited and my Book of the Month memberships because I knew that I was going to want a lot of books over the holiday season. So I don't have Kindle Unlimited for the next month. I don't think my Book of the Month starts again until February. I mean, honestly, I already have like 2 or 3 books in Book of the Month that I want to get that I've already seen interest in. So I may start that one back up sooner, or just whenever I renew in February. I'll just make them add-ons. We'll see. Because some of those look nice. The ones that I've been seeing released over the last month or so. So, thank you for coming along with me, and I shall see y'all in the next video. Have a wonderful new year, and a wonderful winter time, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.